You're tearing me apart. You say one thing and you say another, and everybody changes back again. Here in Shreveport, right across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana, do come check us out. I am C.J. Miller. That was my great imitation, hopefully, of the Jim Stark character as played by, um, James Dean, you know, from Rebel Without a Cause, I it's so funny. I cannot believe I went on an audition when I was 17 years old. My sister took me. My nephew hadn't been with us too long. My oldest nephew, so he was with us on the audition. But it's a nationwide cattle call they were doing for a character to have a James Dean like quality, and the director said, me, yeah, uh, probably wasn't right for the part. It's like maybe not. But every James Dean needs a Salminio. Every Jim Stark needs a Plato. I would have been right for that at 17. But anyway, that movie, it was called Book of Love. What I remember about that movie after that is nothing, because I've never seen the movie, because it was going to be utter trash, and I know it. And the reason why I know it is because the casting director and nobody involved wouldn't know anything about true Gravata's acting talent. Uh, if it were staring them right in the face, they wouldn't know. And so I've never seen the movie. I don't give a damn. And then this was like in 1990. So what were they? What were they doing? 89, 90. What were they doing? They didn't even cast anyone that they went around looking for. They cast someone a boy actor who did, you know, TV commercials and some TV pilots and stuff like that. But he wasn't like a newly discovered person. That was some bullshit. I didn't see the movie. I didn't care about seeing the movie. And I'll tell you, this was right after that. Right after they did this, uh, they did everything in the early 90s. They all looked like uh, the Jim Stark type bad boy, the rich bad boy, so to speak. It wasn't a rebel without a cause or whatever like that, because Jim Stark was a wealthy man, or a wealthy senior student or something like that. So he was a rebel without a cause. He wasn't like impoverished or anything like that. He just had troubles at home. But yeah, so this wasn't like your typical. They couldn't let him be too gritty. Uh, Even in the movie. I wonder. I wonder. I don't know. They probably could have. They probably could have. I don't know. Like done more with that movie. The movie following that was Giant, and it was a movie that was like 3.5 hours long. The movie Giant, and that movie was the inspiration behind the TV show Dallas, that came out in the late 70s, 78, 79, and played throughout the 80s, the late night soap opera. Uh, that was the yeah that movie Giant had a legacy. Okay, so there's more to this video. Hang on one second. Aha, so now we've turned around a little bit, or I have, because we're going to watch a little bit of a movie. Just the opening scene of this movie. Once I find it, once I cue it up here. Aha, hang on. Here we go. So this is streaming on Max this month. And we're just going to watch just a little bit of the opening sections of what's going on. And I'm going to introduce the movie. And the sound's down so we can talk about it. Oh, we know this movie. Back it up. Aha, there it is. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Revenge. So, some thoughts on this movie for me. For me, this is the proper way to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, because this is the way I was introduced to the character of Freddy Krueger. And let me back it up. I remember the original Nightmare on Elm Street coming out in theaters. I did not see it in theaters because I was all about trying to get to that Friday the 13th. and then Terminator and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't like, yeah, I wasn't like moved because Freddy was not Freddy that everybody knew. This movie, Freddy's Revenge, the promos for this movie put the name of Freddy. Everybody knew Freddy. After that, Freddy, you know, and some people didn't know he was Freddy Krueger. Some people called him Freddy Koopa at my middle school. Koopa, like whatever. They mispronounced it or whatever. Not me, but yeah. Um, I was like, what can I say? Well, this was my introduction, and I love this opening scene in particular. This is Robert Englund driving the bus. I knew that it was Robert Englund. Uh, I was really obsessed with the V. You may know that I collect V memorabilia, comic books. Uh, um, I had digital copies of all the movies and TV shows from the 80s and whatever, even that crappy 2009 through 10 remake. That was not bad. It just wasn't what it should be. But so I loved Robert Englund, and the V was not on. They wasn't airing anymore, so I was trying to get my V fix by proxy of other projects that some of the actors were doing. And so, yeah, we had Robert Englund here. We had Jennifer Cook coming out not long after with Friday the 13th, Part 6, uh, Jason Lives. It was actually titled Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6, I think. Anyway, so the reaction that's coming up here is priceless, these two girls. But this was like my introduction. I remember going to see it with my Aunt Sophia and her soon to be husband, uh, Junior. Now, that she'd already been, yeah, she had already separated from and divorced from her first husband or something like that. So yeah, and my battery's running low, so this will be a shorter video. I just maybe want to get us through this opening because it's awesome. I just thought this was so awesome. What a lot of people think about this movie is that Mark Patton's performance, uh, it was kind of different in the fact that his character screams is a like, you know, I I would scream if I were terrified. I think most people would. There have been a lot of guys who have screamed on film. I think it was a mark of complete acting genius that when you're really terrified, when you are utterly really terrified of something to the point of being screaming in terror, you don't scream with any bravado or masculinity or any of that kind of stuff. You don't your puff up reaction comes later, but when you get beyond that, when you get terrified beyond that, no, you scream like a little girl. You don't scream like uh I don't know. So my battery's low, so if this is a blurry feed, I'm so sorry about that. I thought this effect was so cool. I think for it had a bigger budget than Wes Craven, who did everything like, in his movie, the walking up the stairs, and there was like oatmeal and sticky stuff or whatever in the stairs, and a cutout carpet cutaway going up the stairs and everything. But it was really a new approach. What they did in that movie, I loved. The first one was the boogeyman's face, Freddy's face. At one point, Nancy reaches up and like pulls at his face, and his face comes off, and he's a skeleton underneath, and he's a true uh, ghost in that movie. But I saw this one first, and I think it's standalone. I think it's standalone in the fact that later on, this character, who he's kind of, it's actually genius the way he's playing it, kind of geekish in this dream world right now, because it has a lot to do with self-image and insecurity and stuff like that. That a lot of us would feel as a high school student and stuff like just nervousness and everything. So he's playing the complete geek, nerdy, kind of insecure. I'm going to sit over here and be an oddball, and maybe be giggled at on the bus by some of the people because I look and feel weird, and I'm being yeah. But these girls, and the first thing they do with the ground falling down and everything like that, then they get a glimpse of the bus driver at this point, and the girl's reaction is she's like, "What's that?" I just thought that was the coolest reaction to seeing something that was creepy. Like, what the. Uh, and then of course we move into it. So people gave Mark Patton smack for screaming. There is some gay context to this movie. I recognized it. It's not subtext because it's like no. The coach hangs out at the queer S&M joints downtown. They talk about that. So that's not subtext is something that is not referenced at all in the dialogue, but uh, but is potentially there, such as the relationship of Plato and Jim Stark in Rebel Without a Cause. That was a subtext. It was hero worship on the part of Salminio's character looking up to James Dean, and of course, in the plot, uh, the Plato character has absentee parents. He's being taken care of by uh, their problem is they're too rich. They're not poor. They're too rich. So, and what happens here is that they're like he's trying to create parent figures for himself in Natalie Wood and James Dean, big brother kind of thing, a hero. But there's a subtext to it, that's unspoken, and that subtext. But in this movie, no, there's maybe some between the best friend and you know and Jesse's character. Maybe there's some unspoken subtext that could be tension, but yeah, no, it's not. Jesse doesn't play. He's not played as a gay character, but in retrospect, he could be the fact that he's singled out by the coach and stuff like that, and everything that goes on with this. It could be that Mark Patton, uh, this character could, in retrospect, be considered the quintessential, closeted gay guy struggling with his sexuality because that's how Mark Patton says he was, what he was doing and everything like that he was struggling with and everything that he didn't understand. But what I remember Mark Patton from a movie called Anna to the Infinite Power, which was came out right around this, and it may have been a TV movie, or it may have been, I don't know. It seemed like more of a TV movie vibe. Um, I know that I saw it on HBO. I saw it on HBO, and it was about his sister was a clone, and he helped his sister solve the mystery of the cloning in that movie, Anna to the Infinite Power. But he also played in another movie called Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, where he played a young man who was also played the same character by Karen Black, the young man who went away from home after being bashed and chased and beaten up. And he came back, the character of Karen Black, after he had uh, gender reassignment surgery, what they would call sex change operation back in the time when they made that movie. So he wasn't like, you know, un. But all of a sudden, this movie, no. So maybe you weren't going to go on to be a teen idol from uh, homophobic hysteria and stuff like that. But here, the two guys wrestling around, and one's pulling the other one's pants off and stuff like that. And so, it's what's supposed to be, yeah, that's, uh, yeah. There's definitely some homoerotic stuff to this movie, as that's undercurrent, but it's not subtext. It's just above the text. It's subtle. It's like the music that you would listen to that would have innuendo uh, with the understood meaning, uh, like rock and roll. So that's cool. But anyway, I hope we got. Okay, so this is me. I watch this movie first, and then I watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Then I go to 3, 4, 5, and 6, uh, and the Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I can watch independently from the franchise because I think it's outside of the franchise. And then just recently, I watched on YouTube. You can watch this. Um, where it's called Dylan's New Nightmare, and it's about a 35-minute long fan feature. And Miko Hughes, not huge, Miko. Speaking of subtext or whatever, Miko Hughes, uh, and he is a big guy now. Uh, everything. But and it's like, oh my god, this little kid grew up to be like a fucking stud muffin. But anyway, he plays the same character, Dylan, that he played in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And so if you get done with this, go check out Dylan's New Nightmare. Hopefully, I would love to see that be made into an actual feature length movie with New Line. You know, the actor they brought in to do Freddy did a better job than even the guy who did Freddy in the reboot in 2010 or whenever that A Nightmare on Elm Street was remade with the Jackie Earl Hanley or whatever his name is. I don't know. So anyway, I'm mumbling now. I love this movie. I love you guys. Love and light and peace. Good night.